Welcome back to the show. You know, we don't just discuss My Pillow's insurrection, the pillow fight to retake America. Oh no, we sometimes have guests worthy of the program. The guys from Midas Touch are joining us right now. Welcome, Jordy and Brett and Ben. Thank you guys for being with us. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having us
so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So MidasTouch.com for everybody who doesn't know, and a lot of us know Midas Touch as being one of the primary people who kind of produce these, what I would almost call like hypocrisy porn, where you take what people are saying now and what they said before, and you put it right together, and you're like, oh, stark relief. Before we dive into the multiple levels of it over the last week and and your guys' newest videos and what you've released and what you're working on, let everybody know what the impetus was to do this, and then we'll jump straight in because I want to catch people up in case you guys don't know. People who are listening don't know MidasTouch.com, MEIDAS touch.com, right?
The short of it is I'm the older brother. I'm a lawyer. I'm 35. Been practicing, since 2010. Jury trials, depositions. Brett's a digital editor, Emmy award winning. Jordy is an award-winning marketer. We were sitting home like everyone, either furloughed or our jobs were shut down. I couldn't do trials, nothing much going on other than seeing Donald Trump lie and give lies that kill as COVID reached our shores. We had the opportunity to fully take it in. I just think when you're in the rat race of work, you see it, but there's a way to kind of tune it out. But just seeing it that way, we were like, holy crap, like I couldn't just sit on the couch in this apocalyptic time without doing something. We always wanted to work together on something, me and my brother. So we put our talents together. We put out the first video, it did 1 million views. Put out a second video, it got over 1 million views. And before you know it, we became a political action committee in May. Since that time, our videos have been viewed over 600 million times on Twitter alone. Over 1.5 million followers across platforms and socials. And we were heavily invested in Georgia, put close to $2 million there, focused on the ground game. And I would say if disinformation is the virus, Midas Touch was the medicine. And we came in and tried to use, deeply researched tactics on deplatforming, deprogramming, steeped in literature, but to come out with these very compelling videos that ultimately I think was a part of waking people up.
Yeah, great. And so I just retweeted, by the way, one of your most recent ones. It was funny because I went straight to the site to kind of like, since you guys are on, tweet out what you had. And I had to scroll a bit before I could find one that I hadn't already retweeted in that regard.
Well, that's quite a compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, right. And this, I want to know about your guys' reaction to the 6th, where you guys were when you were watching it, because I know you guys knew going in, like a lot of people, that there was going to be, that Josh Hawley was going to object, that Ted Cruz was going to object. There was all this news leading up to. We knew some of these people were going to mess around, and we also knew that Trump was going to have this rally. It was a tinderbox, but then it went in a direction, over the top that I think, enraged and frightened a lot of people. And I'm just curious about where you guys were. Were you guys in communication on that day, getting ready to go? We're going to definitely be doing a video about this and talking about his message. I'm curious. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the short answer is we were in like probably the same rooms that you're looking at us in and listening to us in right now, working on our videos. I mean, we don't really leave the house much due to COVID anymore. And so we're kind of locked in here. I, for a long time, had been predicting that there would be violence on this day. I was relieved when they had banned that Proud Boys leader, Enrique Torrio or whatever his name is, from DC. I thought that was a good first step, but I was surprised that there wasn't more action taken to secure the area, given all the discussions that were being had across Parler and Twitter and OAN and Newsmax and from the President of the United States himself. While I expected violence, I didn't quite expect people to actually go and storm the Capitol building and then get inside. I think that was the most shocking thing to me.
Right.
Because growing up, like, and when you, and Ben used to give tours at the Capitol, and, you know, I used to visit Ben in DC, and they would always say, you know, how it's the people's house and you could go right up to it, but they would be adamant about, but it's so protected. And look, there are snipers up top, and you know, there's top of the line security you don't even know about, and US intelligence is elite, and da 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 da. And then for just a group of people to just be able to run in and storm the place and take over. I mean, it was one of the most shocking
during the counting
I've ever seen. During the counting, while there were members of Congress in there, including people who were next in line to succession for the presidency of the United States, and it's not a protected, a hard security area. I mean, that to me was mind-blowing. And I also was thinking, like, if you're one of America's worst enemies, this is perhaps the worst thing for them to see, that, oh, if you just get if you just get enough people, you could just take over the government. You
like, how is that not a successful dry run?
Yeah. It left us horrified. And I think for a while we just had to kind of take it in and hope that everything was going to be okay. And, you know, we were looking to see what the Biden administration was doing. We were looking to see what the counting was going to be like, if they were going to come back, if they were going to go to a private room. And then you see the videos of the Republican Congress people refusing to wear masks in the secure room. And you see Lauren Boebert tweeting out Nancy Pelosi's location. And you're just like, what is going on? It was just chaos, and it was hard to make sense of it. But we knew after that we had to release content and videos to combat the inevitable lies and hold the people who spread the big lie accountable for inciting this insurrection.
Yeah. When you know, I think as we all watched it, we knew that it wouldn't take much, that you got to take some of these people's words seriously. And I'm curious, by the way, that was, for those just listening on the radio, Ben spoke first, then that was Brett. Jordy's sitting over with you. And I feel like Jordy gets... I don't know why I feel this way, but I feel like you're the one who has to, like, watch OAN and stuff like that just to dig up stuff. They force you to do it.
As the youngest brother, there's a lot of grunt work that I have to do. That does fall on the list. Hey, Jay, we need you to watch 12 hours of OAN and let us know all the crazy stuff happening. All right, guys, I'm there.
I will say we ran an ad on Newsmax in the final weeks leading up to Georgia, and we didn't tell anybody until after it had already aired, because we didn't want to kind of give the secret up and cue anybody in. And and so we ran the ad of Lynn Wood basically telling Republicans
not to vote.
You know, the Republicans, you know, do not have your side, don't have their backs, don't vote for them in Georgia. And we ran it, we flooded the airwaves on Newsmax with it, and it was pretty epic. So that weekend we made Jordy watch OAN for about we made him watch Newsmax for at least 48 hours straight, and he just kept coming back to us and saying, "Guys, you have no idea."
You don't. Right. Well, that's what I wanted to bring into this, Jordy, because there's the clips you see of Newsmax that are almost the most presentable parts of it. You know what I mean? It's like you'll see clips where people go, "This is horrible what they're saying on Newsmax," but even that is the light version, right?
Yeah.
That's the prime time.
1,000%. It is all. Every clip is just worse after worse after worse thing. I mean, it's lie after lie, and it's scary when you realize just how many people are actually sitting home viewing this as if it's truth. And then you see how something like January 6th can happen so easily, and that's the scary thing.
And they dovetail it into prayer so often on Right Side, on OAN, so oftentimes on Newsmax, that it goes, okay, here's a bunch of lies about the material election and the genuine world that go beyond anything we can kind of argue. You know, masks will prevent COVID, get vaccinated, adult, normal human stuff. And then they end this, none of that's, all that's garbage. Now let's pray. As if prayer is somehow associated. Yeah.
Even the presentation is very much like those mega church preachers, you know,
very
like
CBN.
Even the way it comes on and the commercials, it will go from that into like the one commercial that's really like just ingrained in my mind. Every commercial break was James Earl Jones reads the Bible.
Yes.
Like
which I want. Which that's definitely that's the only part that makes me feel relaxed. I think they put that in there just so people can take a breath. Like, okay, at least James Earl Jones is still reading the Bible.
Exactly.
That would never happen.
They're preaching.
Yeah.
They're preaching damnation. They're selling an apocalyptic view of the world. You know, that everything's about to end. The world's about to be destroyed. Only we have the answer. That's Cult 101. But that's why we do what we do. As I said at the beginning, you know, we viewed ourselves as
deprogrammers.
Deprogramming, deplatforming. And look, we keep it fresh. We try to keep it funny. We try to keep it exciting to start that conversation of maybe having that person watching it go, wait a minute, that doesn't really make sense. And once I have them asking that question, then we've succeeded in, hopefully they'll start reading more of the literature and they could get out of that ecosystem and into one of truth.
That's awesome. We're talking to the Midas Touch guys, MeidasTouch.com, and of course at Midas Touch on Twitter and all the places that we're still allowed to congregate because we don't foment revolution and tell people to drink.
And how we got the number 15 podcast right now of all.
I know. I was just going to say that just came up. Like I saw it. I was scrolling through your timeline, and there's a picture of Rachel, and I was like, oh, you're right up there with the podcast version of her show.
We're two ahead of Rachel, I'll note.
I know. It's there you go. So, MeidasTouch.com. And of course, their podcast is available everywhere podcasts are available. But then, we'll talk about that when we come back. I want to talk a little bit about going forward because there's some ticks that are burrowed in on this dog that are going to be hard to extract. Trump's, and I'm curious about your feeling about Trump's influence. I have my opinions about it after the election. I'm curious to share that with you. So everybody stick around.